What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be going over my official 2021 NBA playoff predictions. Literally 10 minutes ago, the Grizzlies beat the Warriors in the final play-in game, so they secured the 8th seed to go up against the Utah Jazz in the first round. And so let's just hop right into this. I found this graphic online. Obviously, it didn't have the 8th-seeded Memphis Grizzlies filled in yet, so I just sort of myself a little bit but we'll just start out on that series, all right? The Jazz, number 1 seed, they were the best team in basketball record-wise pretty much all season, and they're playing the Memphis Grizzlies. John Moran had a great game. Jaren Jackson and Dylan Brooks also had a pretty solid game. Jonas Valanciunas has been very dominant, but I don't see a situation really where Utah loses one game against this Memphis team that barely snuck into the playoffs. The Jazz have been dominant all season. Donovan Mitchell is expected to return. I have the Jazz winning this series in 4 games, possibly 5. I could see John Moran and Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, those guys having a really good game and maybe slowing down a Donovan Mitchell, who could sit out a game if he's still sore with that ankle injury, but he's still very expected to play in the series. Rudy Gobert versus Jonas Valanciunas is also going to be super entertaining to see. I think Jonas Valanciunas is a very underappreciated center. He's been very dominant the past couple games. And so, yeah, I'm very excited to see what he can do, but I just don't see the Grizzlies really being able to pull up the upset against the number 1 overall seed. So I have the Jazz winning in 4 games. Next up, we have the Clippers taking on the Mavericks, and I think this is going to be an incredible series. I'm still kind of 50-50 on who I think is going to win it. I could see it going to 7 games, 100%. We have a rematch of last year. We all know Luka hit that incredible game winner in the bubble to win one of the games. They were very close in taking the 2-1 series lead. And Kawhi Leonard and Paul George against Kristaps and Luka, pretty much the same exact matchup we saw last year. The Clippers got a little bit better. The Mavericks are pretty much the same team. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I have the Clippers winning this matchup in 7 games. I think it's going to be a dogfight every single night. It's going to be chippy between the teams. Luka's going to want to get into it. Same with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Marcus Morris might get into it again with Luka. We saw the stepping on Luka's foot last year in the bubble, so hopefully we don't see that happen again. But yeah, I think that's going to be a hell of a series. I'm super, super excited for that. But I just don't see a situation where Kawhi Leonard's really going to be able to get matched up too well on the offensive side of things, and Luka could be getting clamped up by Paul George or Kawhi Leonard all series, so may not even go to 7 games. I think the real determining X factor in the series is going to be Porzingis, whether or not he could stay healthy, knock down shots, and because there's no one on the Clippers that I could see really guarding him. Kawhi is probably going to be the one that's trying to play defense on him the entire series, but yeah, I still have Clippers. I think they're the better team. A lot of people are saying they're the best team in the Western Conference, even though they're the 4 seed. But yeah, I got the Clippers winning in 7 games and then taking on the Jazz in the second round. Let's move down to the Nuggets-Blazers series. Again, I think this is going to be another amazing series, but I'm going to take Portland Trail Blazers in 7 games as well. Now, hear me out. Nikola Jokic has been dominant all season. He's going to win the MVP, I think. And they have another MVP caliber player in Portland in Damian Lillard. So I see this just being a dogfight. Damian Lillard's going to be going off. He's going to be guarded by like Austin Rivers the entire playoffs. So Lillard's going to have an incredible series. But then on the other side of things, is Enes Kanter and Jusuf Nurkic going to be able to slow down Nikola Jokic? I don't think so. So that's why I think the Nuggets have a slight edge on the offensive side of things. And then CJ McCollum and Michael Porter Jr. kind of going to balance that out. And it really comes down to a lot of depth. And I think if Jamal Murray was in this series and he didn't have a torn ACL, it would be a lot closer. And I think the Nuggets would end up winning. But I have Portland winning this series in 6 or 7 games. I just think the absence of Jamal Murray is really going to affect the Nuggets in the series. Portland is a very well-balanced team, especially on the offense side of things. They can really get it done. If Damian Lillard gets hot, he's hot. He doesn't cool down. Same with Carmelo. Same with CJ McCollum. See, I got Portland in 6 or 7 games there. And then this is going to be the series. This is going to be the best first-round matchup in recent history. The 2-seeded Phoenix Suns against the 7-seeded Lakers. And honestly, I still don't know who I want to take. I'm a big Chris Paul fan, for 2 years. I could care less about Chris Paul, honestly, before he made his appearance in Oklahoma City. But I've been rooting for the Suns all season. I really wanted them to do well, and they ended up being the 2-seed, of course, just to get matched up against the 7-seeded Lakers. And I hate to do it. But I see the Lakers just being the dominant team. They got better since winning a ring last year, which says a lot. They are the 7 seed, and I have to look at it that they're the 7 seed because LeBron and Anthony Davis were hurt. If they were the 1 seed, I don't think it would make it. Like, I'm viewing, like, the Lakers are still a number 1 overall seed caliber team in the Western Conference. But just since they had injuries with LeBron and Anthony Davis and Dennis Schroeder missing some games, that's the only reason they fell to the 7 seed. So I don't see them as an actual 7 seed. I see them as a top seed in the East, which is very unfortunate for Phoenix. I really want Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and Ayton to do well. But I just don't see it happening this year, which is super unfortunate because we don't know how much good all-star caliber years we're going to have left of Chris Paul. We already thought he was done 2 years ago. Well, a lot of people thought he was going to be done. I didn't think he was going to be done. So who knows if Chris Paul could keep playing on this caliber level of basketball for a few more seasons and bring it his all in Phoenix, and if they can even make the playoffs or make another playoff push in the upcoming years. But I got Lakers winning this game in 7. I had the Lakers winning this series in 7 games, to take on Portland in the second round. We're going to finish off the Western Conference before we move to the Eastern Conference. So we have Jazz Clippers. And I think the Clippers are the more dominant team, 100%. Jazz are the 1 seed, but the Clippers, I think, are more well-rounded. Donovan Mitchell and Gobert, I think, are going to struggle a bit on the chemistry side of things. They are a bit of a deeper team, in my opinion, with Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench. Bogdanovich could drop 40 on your head. But Mitchell and Gobert and Conley, they haven't played a lot of games, or Donovan Mitchell hasn't played a lot of games with this team so far. And I think getting rest kind of almost in that first round matchup against the Grizzlies is going to help, but that ankle injury, ankle injuries are not something to mess with. I think one slight little tweak to it can really throw you off, and I do want to see a 100% level Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs. I think Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and the surrounding pieces are going to be a bit too much for the Jazz team. So I have the Clippers winning this series in 6 games. That's a huge C. So let me get rid of that, actually. That was a huge C. Clippers are going to be winning that series in 6 games. And then the Blazers and the Lakers rematch of the first round last year. I have the Lakers winning that in 5 games. LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to show out in Portland and at home. Damian Lillard is going to have a few good games, but I think LeBron James is still one of the best players in the league. Anthony Davis is the top player in the league. Damian Lillard is still a tremendous player. He was in the MVP conversation a bit in the midseason. But Portland kind of just has been slowly falling in the rankings here and there. And I just don't think they have a good enough team to stop the defending champion LA Lakers. And then Clippers, Lakers in the finals, or in the conference finals. The battle of LA. Who is going to be the better team? Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, or LeBron James and Anthony Davis? I gotta go with the defending champs. The 7 seed is going to make it to into the finals. I didn't want to do it. It's boring. I know. I just don't see anyone being able to stop the Lakers out west. As unfortunate as it is, I think it would be crazy to see LeBron make another playoff push if they can all stay healthy. And I don't think health is really going to be that big of a factor for the Lakers team. I think they'll be fine. And clearly, I do think they're going to be really fine as they're making the finals. Once again, LeBron's going for ring number 5. LeBron, if you get that 5th ring, you got a whole hand. All right, let's move on to the East. And I'm super excited for this matchup in particular. Not because I think it's going to be a good series, but player versus player, Russell Westbrook and Joel Embiid, that is going to be super fun to watch. They always go at it. I'm a huge Russell Westbrook fan, so I'm super glad they won that game against the Pacers the other night. And I'm not expecting them to win much games or a game at all, but I know Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook are going to give it their all. I see Philly winning this series in 4 or 5 games. Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal might have the game where Westbrook drops 25, 25, and 15, and Bradley Beal drops 50, and they end up taking the game at home. And then Russell Westbrook's on social media talking about how blah, 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 blah. That's what I want. That's what I want. And I'm still debating whether or not I want to go to a Sixers game just to watch Russell Westbrook in person this year. The tickets are pretty expensive, so I might be going to that. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, I don't see anyone being able to contain Joel Embiid. He's going to have a monster of a series, especially against Daniel Gafford, Alex Len, and Robin Lopez. Philly, you're winning that in 4 or 5. Atlanta and New York, this is going to be an incredible series. I think 2 underappreciated teams all season. New York is going to be selling out tickets at the Garden. And, I think they're going to win all their home games this season, take 1 game on the road, and I see New York winning this as the underdog, as the 5 seed. Julius Randle versus John Collins is going to be a fun little matchup to see. Same with Derrick Rose and Trae Young. And I swear these 2 teams play all the time. I know my boy Click is going to one of the games at the Garden, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to ask him about that and see how he's enjoying it. I guarantee we're going to see a bunch of his stories or whatever. But yeah, I got the Knicks. I think they're the better coach team. Yeah, they have a great defense, and I think if they're able to contain Trae Young, they'll be fine. I see this going to 6 games, but I got the Knicks winning in 5 or 6 games. 6 games. I think the Knicks win in 6 games. So we're going to have Sixers-Knicks, battle of the Mid-Atlantic division, I want to say. But let's move on now to the Bucks and the Miami Heat. This is going to be another incredible series. I see this going to 7 games, and it's really a toss-up. I think Milwaukee's very, very good this season. Same with Miami. Jimmy Butler looks absolutely ripped in his Instagram picture. Bam Adebayo is pissed off that he's not in the Defensive Player of the Year race anymore. So I think Miami's got a little bit of like a chip on their shoulder almost. They just want to go out there and prove everyone wrong, and a lot of people are saying like, oh, last year's finals run was a fluke. They're not going to be able to do it again. So I think it'll be fun to watch the 6th seed Miami Heat on another little playoff run. But I think Giannis and the Bucks are a lot better than they were last year. And I have the Bucks winning that series in 7 games. And then Brooklyn, Boston, Jason Tatum will have a good game. Kemba Walker will have a good game. But I don't see the Nets losing to the Celtics team that kind of got into it. They're a bit injury prone. I see the Nets winning this series in 5. And then Nets, Brooklyn. Nets and Bucks. I have the Brooklyn Nets winning this. Actually, no, I do not. I had the Bucks winning it. I tricked you. The Bucks looked tremendous against the Nets all season. I just remember vividly that a couple games, like 3 weeks ago, Brooklyn just did not look good against Milwaukee. Milwaukee matched up super well. Kyrie is going to be guarded by Drew Holiday. I imagine Chris Middleton or PJ Tucker is going to be guarding James Harden. And then Giannis versus Kevin Durant is going to be pretty much the determining factor in this series. And I just see the Bucks pulling off the upset. They are a very, very underappreciated team. Budenholzer is doing a solid job coaching this season. I'm calling it. I think the Bucks are going to get the upset. Then I see the Sixers beating the Knicks in about 5 games. The Knicks playoff hopes, or the Knicks playoff run is going to end a bit short, but I think they have nothing to really get upset about. They made the playoffs for the first time in forever, and winning a first-round matchup is all they could ever ask for. But I think Philly's just going to be too much to handle. And then Sixers against Bucks in the conference finals, and I'm going to give it to the Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to pull off the win against the number 1 overall seeded Philadelphia 76ers. I think Giannis can go on an absolute tear in that series. Joel Embiid is going to go off against Brook Lopez and their center core. But I just don't see a team really stopping Giannis in the playoffs. And I know people have been saying that Giannis hasn't been showing up in the playoffs, and that is kind of true so far in his young NBA career. Or he's not even really a young NBA career. He's like 24 maybe. But yeah, I don't know what I see in the Bucks this year. They're kind of underappreciated. They're a bit under the radar, but they're still an amazing underrated team. But championship game, Bucks Lakers. Give me the Los Angeles Lakers. I can't spell R. Yes, I can spell, but my handwriting is terrible. You can understand that, though. The Lakers are going to win that matchup, and I want to say 6 games. They're going to win it at home. And yeah, those are my playoff predictions. I know it wasn't anything crazy or too many bold predictions, but that's just what I think. This video, I am recording this kind of late at night. It is currently like 12:30 at night. 15-minute long video. I'm not going to do any cuts in the video, so you're just getting straight raw footage. I just wanted to get this out before the playoffs start on Saturday. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you think my takes are bad, you probably do. These weren't the best picks in the world or the smartest picks, but these are just what I think. I would never put money on any of these picks like to actually happen. But I'm just doing this for fun, you know what I'm saying? Leave a like. I'll catch you guys in the next video.